Hello and welcome to your yoga practice today. We'll call this a yin practice today, nuggets of gratitude. Physically, we'll be targeting the chest, the shoulders, and the hips, as these are areas that we have a tendency to hold anxieties, cares, emotions, and we'll try to lighten up and make some space in those areas so that we have more room for all the greatness in our lives, the little nuggets of gratitude. And I wanted to share a quick quote before we begin our practice today. And this quote is by Melody Beattie. All right, so just take a comfortable seat. Let your eyes soften and close if that's comfortable for you. Gratitude unlocks the fullness of life. It turns what we have into enough and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos to order, confusion to clarity. It can turn a meal into a feast, a house into a home, and a stranger into a friend. Gratitude makes sense of our past, brings peace for today, and creates a vision for tomorrow. To sum it up, gratitude unlocks a life never imagined, right? But the hard part is shifting our mindset from our overworked, overbooked lifestyles into appreciating the present moment. It's really easy for us to, I don't know, as humans, to focus on the stuff that's difficult, right? The hard stuff. Almost like we linger there a little bit too long, like we secretly like it. Well, today's practice is about shedding all of that, about letting that go and opening up to a new perspective, about opening up to what's here and in the present moment. So that being said, go ahead and let's start in our first posture. We'll start reclined down on your backs. Oh, I forgot to mention, because we're doing a yin practice. Now, yin is the style of yoga where we're going to kind of linger in some long held postures. Today, I'll be shooting for about 3 minutes, pretty much through everything. So you might like to bring in some yoga props. I've got a couple of blocks here, a bolster and a blanket. Substitutions for these would be anything that you've got lying around. If you don't have these particular props, you can use blankets, pillows, cushions, towels, that kind of thing. All right. So go ahead and lie down on your back. We'll take reclined butterfly as our opening posture. So soles of the feet come together as we recline back. If you like, you can use these yoga blocks or even cushions or pillows to support underneath the thighs or knees, especially if you feel any uncomfortable pull in the inner thighs, groins, or even into the low back, okay? So use as many props as you like to make your postures as comfortable and sustainable as you prefer. And then we'll lie down on your backs. Let your arms come down by your sides with your palms turned up. Let's take a full deep breath in together. And as you exhale, sigh it out. Let that breath go. Take another one if you like, just like that. Full breath in. Sigh it out, let go. Just letting go of all of the things that have held your attention from your day so far. Allow all of the places in your body that are connected to your mat, to the floor, to the earth. Just allow them to sink a little more deeply. Now bring your awareness to your breath. In fact, if you like, you can take one hand to the low belly and one hand to the chest. And as you breathe, really fill the belly up With that inhale, breathing in all the way to the bottom of the lungs. And as you exhale, release that breath. And we'll start some 3-part breathing now. So next inhale, feel the belly first, then the ribs, and then the chest. And as you exhale, release the breath from the chest, the ribs, and then the belly. Take a few of these on your own. Inhaling, belly, ribs, and chest, and exhale, chest, ribs, and belly. All of your awareness is on your breath. Take 2 more breaths like this on your own. And then return to normal breathing. You can release the arms down by your sides once more. Just holding all of your awareness on the sensation of the breath, the beating of your physical heart, and the expansion of your body as you breathe. Spend a few more moments here just expressing gratitude for your body that allowed the circumstances today so that you could be here, so that you could create this physical release today. On your next inhalation, you can take hands to the outer thighs, just help those knees to come all the way back up. And our second posture, extend your left leg long and hug your right knee in toward your chest. We'll take a 1-knee twist, taking the left hand now to the outer right thigh, or outer right knee. You'll drop the right knee over to the left side. Right arm extends out to the right with the palm up. Now you find any placement of the right arm that works for your body. Right? The idea just being that we're going to be opening the outer right hip, the spine, as well as the chest and the shoulder. Again, you remember to use any props that you want in your practice at any time to support your posture, to support your body. Now here in this posture, as well as the next one, which we'll also do on the right side, turn your awareness to the chest and the upper back. Noticing first any physical tension, any tightness, any holding. And then expand your awareness to anything else that's here, any lingering emotions or thoughts. Breathe into it, breathe through it. And I'll even offer a mantra for these couple of postures. As you inhale, you might silently say, let. And as you exhale, go. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. And as you exhale, releasing the tension, the holding, and beginning to sow the seeds of gratitude. Couple breaths more here. On inhalation, now slowly begin to untwist. Roll back onto your back. Stretch both legs long. Stretch the arms long overhead. Big stretch. And then rolling over to your right and keep rolling all the way onto your bellies. As you roll onto your belly, we'll take a posture that I call broken wing. And what we'll do is take your right arm and extend your right arm out to the side. So we were just lying on our back with the right arm extended. So now we'll have the right arm extending straight out, and take a moment to look and ensure that the arm is at shoulder height, that you've got room to expand it fully. Left hand is just under the left shoulder. Now, I'll show you in variations of intensity ways to get into this posture. So some of you might just stay right here. Maybe front of the shoulders are really tight. You could stay here. You can also bring the left knee up alongside of you, right? So if you're a belly sleeper, this is probably how you sleep. Or if that's still not intense enough, come all the way over onto your side, sliding both thighs forward so the thighs are stacked. I've got to get that timer. I've got to get that timer going before I get us too far in here, huh? All right, so you could be lying on the belly with just the left knee up alongside of you, or all the way over on your side with the knees both pulled forward. So from top down, it kind of looks like we're sitting in a chair, right? Right now, one more variation here, you might lift the left knee up. So all of these things, in essence, are kind of rolling us a little more deeply onto the left arm, the one that, or the right arm, the one that's back behind us, right? So back out anywhere you need to, wherever you need to be. Keeping the left hand here for support. Another option is even to take that left arm and drop it back behind the waist. So if you've tried one of these options and it feels like maybe it's just a little bit too much, you can always back right out, okay? And so once more, keeping that focus, that awareness on the chest and the upper back. Noticing first that physical tension. And then notice if there's anything else that kind of rides along with that. And can we use our awareness, our breath, to let some of that go? In fact, you can even come back to the mantra that I offered here. As you say, as you inhale, silently say let, and as you exhale, go. Let's take one breath more. And then we release by bringing yourself all the way back down onto your belly. You can stack the hands, rest the forehead, maybe stretch the arms forward. We'll need to make our way back onto our backs, as we'll do that on the other side. So back from the twist, all right? So shifting back over onto your back. So now we have the right leg extended long, and we'll draw the left knee into our chest. So now taking that twist to the right. So right hand directs the left knee across the body. The left arm extends out to the left. And then reminding yourself that we'll be here for a couple of minutes, 3 to be exact, on this twist. So take the first little bit that we're here, especially in yin, to settle into the posture and adjust. Right? We want to find a sweet spot, a place where we're feeling some of the sensation, but it's not so much that it causes us to tense and tight. Because the idea in our practice today is to be able to soften and release the tension, to release the holding, to release the anxieties and the fears, so that we have more room for gratitude. So if you want to throw in a prop, throw in a prop. Put a block or a cushion underneath the knee or the shoulder or the hip. We've got a little bit longer here. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Sowing the seeds of gratitude as we let go of those things that we no longer need, those things that bind us. Add a while longer. What are those seeds of gratitude that you're starting to sow? Maybe it's your caring heart, your compassionate nature. Oh, these are wonderful qualities, so nurture them. Last breath here. Inhaling, we'll untwist. Rolling back onto your back. And once again, take a big long stretch. Stretch those arms up overhead. Rolling to your side. And then keep rolling. Roll all the way over onto your belly. So as we come onto the belly now, the left arm will extend out. So left arm extends out from the shoulder. Right hand here underneath the shoulder, the right shoulder, as a support. First variation, just simply bring right knee up alongside of you. Again, if you're a belly sleeper, this is probably how you sleep, but it starts to roll us a little bit over toward that left side. If that's not enough and you want a little bit more, you pull both knees forward. So it's as if you're lying on your side, sitting on a chair. And just pause and breathe in. Check out how that shoulder is feeling, turning awareness again to the chest and the upper back. And maybe we lift the right knee. If it's too much, you just release it back down. Maybe right arm drops behind again, just to your comfort level. Inhale, let. Exhale, go. Let. And go. Keep staying tuned into sensation, tuned into the breath. Those are the yoga tools that'll keep you present. I'll slowly start to release. Roll to your belly. And you can stack the hands one on top of the other, let the forehead rest. Let's pause on the belly for a moment. And slowly start to press yourself up off of the floor. And we'll come into pigeon pose, or in yin, we call it swan pose. So this is a deep outer hip opener. We'll start on the right side. So I'll show you a couple of options. And so we'll, again, just like we did for the upper body, we'll do 2 poses back to back before we switch to the other side. So pigeon pose or swan on the right side. So the right knee will come forward behind the right wrist. The left leg extends back. You can either stay upright here, come down to elbows, come down to blocks, even a bolster if you want to pull that in. More conservative variation of this, you could come down onto your backs and take right ankle over the left knee, or even take the hands and hook them behind the left thigh. Right, so find what's going to work for you for today's practice. I'm going to come all the way back up to the upright variation of swan. But remember, you do you. You're doing what works in your body. This is your practice. And take again time to settle in and decide if you'd like to use props or not use props. I do already have the timer started. So on the right side, as we go through this posture again and the next one, I'd like to ask you to think back to a really wonderful time that you may have had recently. Now, it might have only just been a brief or instantaneous moment of joy, or it might have been something that played out over a period of time, maybe over a week or 2, or even longer than that. But can you express thanksgiving for that wonderful time? Express thanks for the circumstances that allowed that to occur. Feel free to keep expanding on that gratitude. No need to restrict it to just one moment in time. If your focus is physical, You're first noticing the physical tension, tightness, or holding that you might be experiencing. And then watch as those sensations dissipate, as they lessen, as we find a way to release the holding, the gripping, to let go. Inhale. Bring yourself up to sit. So if you recline down on your back, you'll come up to sit. If you're in the forward variation of pigeon, you'll come up to sit. And we'll take half butterfly or Janu Shirshasana. We'll have the right leg extended and the left knee bent off to the side. And so you'll flex the right foot, starting with the toes pointing straight up, and we'll be relatively active as we begin the posture. We'll sit up really tall. If you find that your left knee or thigh is not coming down to the ground, feel free to pop something up under there. A yoga block, a blanket is really nice. What I want is for you to feel really grounded, not only through the extended, the active leg, but also through the one that's bent off to the side, okay? So use whatever props allow that feeling for you. So we'll sit up tall. You'll turn yourself toward the extended leg and then reach yourself forward over it. You can go a little or a lot. Right? There's no prescribed way to go. Position yourself in such a way, though, that it feels like you're moving your heart toward the toes, right? So we shouldn't feel like we're being sucked backward. If that's you today, it could just be that the hamstrings, the back of the thigh is really tight. So feel free to bend that knee as much as you need to find that release today. You could even put rolled up blanket or towel underneath that knee, okay? If you're a little more on the flexible side today, then in your forward fold, you can come down to forearms or maybe elbows or forearms on blocks. Once more, bringing yourself back to recent experiences of joy, pleasure, whether brief or expanded. Just bring that to mind. And then express thanks for the circumstances that allowed and made space for that to happen. A little bit longer, a few breaths more. And then inhalation. Start to bring yourself all the way upright. If you used any props, you can remove them, set them off to the side. Now we'll go to the second side. So swan pose or pigeon pose with the left knee forward or on top, right? So decide whether you're going to do the upright variation or you're going to recline down on your back. If you're reclining on your back, it's left ankle over the right knee, okay? If you're forward facing, then you've got the left knee forward and the right leg extending back. Now, as you remind yourself that this is your practice, you don't even have to do the same variation side to side, right? We treat our bodies differently. side to side throughout the day. So if you need to do something a little bit differently to accommodate anything, then do that, okay? So the sensation is in the outer hip and thigh on our swan variation, but on the left side. As we start to settle into this second side of hip openers, I invite you to allow your mind to travel back to a difficult or challenging period that you've had recently. Now, you don't have to attach and get caught up in the emotions that accompanied that, but just bring to mind something that you've dealt with recently. And then send out a little prayer for the fact that you're moving forward. Even if you're still in the middle of the storm, you're putting one foot in front of the other and you're moving forward. And can you also sow some seeds of gratitude and thanks for the qualities that you have that allowed you to move through this difficult time? Maybe these attributes or qualities that were developed or learned because of the challenging time. Throw out a little thanks for that. Qualities that you wouldn't have acquired or fine-tuned otherwise. Couple breaths more here. On an inhale, you'll slowly start to bring yourself all the way up to seated. So taking half butterfly on side 2. Excuse me. So we'll have the left leg extended and the right knee bent off to the side. So the left foot is flexed, left leg extended long, right knee bent off to the side. Pull in any props that you like. Maybe adding some support underneath the right thigh. Maybe rolling up a blanket underneath the left. We'll turn yourself toward the extended leg, lengthen the spine, and to any degree, walk yourself forward. Physical sensation. Back of the left leg, outer hip, maybe even the low back or the lumbar side, lumbar spine. First, noticing the physicality, right? The tension, the holding. And continue to stay tuned in. Notice if anything else comes up, right? And as it does, acknowledge it, breathe through it, and let it go. And again, without dwelling or getting too attached to the feelings associated, but more thanks for the challenges in your life and the qualities, the characteristics that you acquired, that you fine-tuned in spite of it, because of it. All of the things in our lives, whether good or bad, make us who we are. But without those experiences, we would not be here, possibly. Let's bring yourself all the way upright, releasing the posture. So before we move into another area of postures, let's either take a child's pose. You could go child's pose. You could take puppy dog pose, so on your knees with the arms forward, or you could take a downward facing dog. So yogi's choice, you decide what works for you. I'm choosing downward facing dog today, but you could be here in puppy dog pose, just stretching things out, or send yourself back to child's pose. We won't be here long, just a couple of cleansing and clearing breaths. And let's come down onto our knees if you're not there already. So come onto your knees. We'll take saddle pose next. You might like to have your props around for this. And if saddle pose doesn't work for you, I'll give you some alternates as well. So I will turn so I'm forward to you. So my knees will be about hips distance apart. I'll separate my feet just enough so that I can sink down in between. So my butt goes down to the floor. Now, a couple little tricks. I like to kind of peel the calf muscles away. It gives me a little bit more space. Now, this doesn't work for everybody's knees, right? For their knees, their ankles, for whatever reason. One adjustment you could make would be to take a yoga block or a firm cushion and just pop it right underneath you. Sometimes that can relieve that pressure that we might feel under the knees. You could also just sit cross-legged, all right? So we could sit cross-legged for this as well. Okay, so we'll sit up nice and tall. Take your hands back behind, interlacing your hands, shoulders lower down. So with the hands interlaced, take both hands and shift them over to your left hip. So both shoulders are down. I'm not hiking shoulders up. So the hands are over to the left hip, and we'll drop the head or the right ear over to the right shoulder. And so I'm going to just turn backward to you so you can see what that looks like. All right, so interlaced, hands are over to the left, and dropping right ear to right shoulder. Remember, if this variation of the legs doesn't work for you, feel free to just simply sit cross-legged, okay? One more breath. Ahead. Take those interlaced hands, shift them over to the right hip, and then left ear will go to the left shoulder. Got a couple more minutes here. So now bring the head upright. Release the hands from back behind. So I'll show some, I'm going to set the timer first. And then I'll show you a few options for what we have next. So we'll do saddle pose. So you could just simply stay upright from where you are. If you're in the hero pose variation, you could also walk the hands back behind. All right. Some of you might be able to, especially if you have any bolster or cushion, to come back behind to support along the spine and rest. If knees don't allow this or any other thing that doesn't allow this for your body, you could also take Sphinx pose. So for Sphinx pose, you come down onto the belly and you prop up on forearms, legs extend, forearms are parallel. Right, so we're still stressing the same part of the low back, the lumbar spine here, just in a different variation. So just take a moment, decide which is the variation that works the best for you. Make sure that there's no pinching in your low back or anywhere in your body, right? Yoga should not hurt. We always find support for our body here. So remember, if reclining back doesn't go for you, you don't have to do it. You stay upright. You could take the other variation of just coming into Sphinx pose. Showing you another variation here using the blocks, right? If I didn't have a cushion, I could just prop up on something back behind. A little bit longer, guys. A couple breaths more. If you're in Sphinx pose, walk your arms forward, come all the way down onto your belly. If you were back with me in saddle pose, bring yourself upright and stretch the legs out. So I'll just come onto all fours and stretch the legs one at a time out. Come on up to standing for our next posture. Well, we're not really going to come up to standing so much as we're going to dangle. So we're going to come into a forward fold. Position your feet so they are, I don't know, hip to shoulder distance apart. Again, you can use blocks here for this if you like. So as you position the blocks, if you're using them or any other prop, soft bend in the knees and just release the weight of the upper body forward and down. You can let the arms completely hang and dangle down to the floor. You can rest the hands on blocks if you wish. You could even take hands to opposite elbows and just completely let the whole upper body release down. And as you release the weight of your body in this pose, can you allow
the abundant and bountiful depths of gratitude that we've been able to cultivate in our practice just wash over you. The head weight release. And I might offer a mantra here as well. As you inhale, accept, exhale, release. Just allowing all of that gratitude to just really wash over you, to bathe in it. Letting go of any final bits of tension or holding tightness. Inhale, accept. Exhale, release. A deep bend in your knees, please. Let the chest rest on the thighs. Keep this bend in your knees as you roll the spine up one vertebrae at a time. Feel free to use the arms along the front of the thighs to support as you come up. And the head is going to be the very last thing to come upright. Yeah. Bring yourself all the way down onto your mats again. For our last posture before Shavasana, we'll use the wall. So if you have a little space on the wall, go ahead and snug up to it. Maybe you could just use the back of a couch, a refrigerator, a closet door, something like that. Take a moment. Scoot yourself up to the wall. Lengthen the legs up. Depending on the flexibility in the backs of the legs, you might be scooted a little bit farther away from the wall, so the knees have a little more bend in them. Right, there's no right or wrong for this. And you choose the variation that you'd like for legs up. So you could have the legs straight up the wall for Viparita Karani. You could take a butterfly pose variation, right? We did butterfly as our opening posture. You might choose dragonfly up against the wall with the legs open wide. Your practice, your choice. Let the arms come to the sides with the palms up, or find some other placement for the arms. Maybe allow the eyes to soften and close as well. Just allowing any remaining tension, just feel it draining out of your legs, draining down back to the earth.
And spend a moment or two here expressing a bit of gratitude for the physical, emotional, mental release that you've been able to cultivate today. For a new perspective, a fresh start. A fresh start is a really wonderful gift. An opportunity to begin anew. Couple breaths more. We'll start to move ourselves off the wall slowly. Our only transition is to Shavasana. So make your way onto your back, onto your mat. So roll away from the wall, whatever variation you were in. And lying on your back, extending the legs, letting the arms be by the sides, turn the palms up. You could also take constructive rest by tenting the knees together. As the eyes soften and close, tune back in. Tune back in to the physical beating of your heart, the sensation of your breath. And please feel free to stay here in Shavasana for as long as you wish. If you're ready to return back to your usual state of alertness today, just start with a gentle wiggle of fingers and toes. Bend the knees, maybe draw them in toward the chest, rocking a little side to side. As you're ready, roll to one side or the other, and eventually bring yourself up to sit, sitting up tall, maybe even doing so with eyes still closed. And as you join the hands in Anjali Mudra, palm against palm, bow chin to the chest in a gesture of gratitude. One last little bit of gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for valuing yourself enough to take this time for you today. And as always, I thank you, and I have much gratitude for you choosing to join me in your yoga practice today. Thank you. Namaste.